Hello there, welcome back to the channel, and we finally got a look at what a Breen looks like underneath that helmet. And I'm gonna say I've got mixed feelings on this. This isn't going to be a breakdown of the Breen overall. I feel like I've done that before. So without checking my back catalogue of episodes myself, I think I've already done that one. Not going to do it. I'm doing this one as sort of an update to that, and also, as I say, mixed feelings on this. There's something to be said for the mystery. The Breen were interesting because we didn't know what they looked like, because we don't have any clue. There are certain individuals within the universe that definitely knew what a Breen looked like. I'd put money on the changelings knowing what one looked like. The female shapeshifter probably would not have liked not knowing and would have eventually figured it out, found out one way or another. Gul Dukat knew what a Breen looked like. Kira Nerys knew what a Breen looked like. And, you know, those are the ones we can confirm would have known, because they took the helmets off of a Breen, stole their armor. But there's a lot of things that don't make sense, and that was a good thing. They wore refrigeration suits, but their homeworld was very pleasant and very temperate. They use vocal modulators, so without a properly tuned universal translator, you can't actually understand what they're saying. They can understand you, but you can't understand them. This all just adds to the mystery of the Breen. Their body armor, their environmental suits. It's kind of a good idea, always wear armor, always have an environmental suit, you're ready for anything, but they took it to the extreme. For centuries, no one knew what one looked like, but now we know. Spoilers for Star Trek Discovery Season 5, Moll and L'ak are on the run. L'ak, turns out, he's a Breen. And at first it's been a bit of a mystery what he is. We kind of suspected he might have been Breen because there was like a equivalent of a bounty out on them from the Breen. The Breen have been mentioned a lot in Star Trek Discovery. We've learned a lot more about Breen culture, that they've basically got royalty. There's always been suspicions because they're a confederacy. There's been theories that they wear armor because actually the Breen Confederacy is like a violent version of the Federation, and actually it's made up of multiple races. But in order to equalize them all, they all wear armor and modulate their voices, so each doesn't know who they're talking to. You're just talking to a Breen. Doesn't matter which species you are. There was that theory. The refrigeration suit thing didn't make sense, but that was, again, a good thing. It didn't make sense. I don't know, I personally liked that I didn't know. I had my own speculations, my own theory, I may have shared them in the past. One of them is that basically the reason no one could possibly know what the Breen looked like, the reason they wore a refrigeration suit, is actually the Breen naturally evolved on not necessarily a freezing cold world, but could have evolved in a part of the world that was Arctic. It's also entirely plausible that the Breen were not carbon-based, but were based on another element that isn't stable at higher temperatures, forcing the Breen to wear their encounter suits. Because without them, without the refrigeration suit keeping them cold when they're moving around environments suitable for humans or Vulcans or Jem'Hadar, they would literally evaporate. It's possible. Think of a substance like mercury. It's liquid at room temperature, yet that's a metal. There are other environments. Titan, for example, looks like it's covered in rocks and oceans. It's actually covered in liquid methane and stuff, and the rocks are actually water ice, but so frozen cold they're as hard as rock. And that sounds weird to us because water is a liquid at, general temperatures on Earth, generally, but water, like anything, can exist in multiple states. It can be a gas, it can be a liquid, it can be a solid. Theoretically, it could probably be a plasma. So, rocks, kind of the same. Think about magma, think about lava. In fact, most of the rock on Earth is technically a liquid because most of it's melted. I may not be correct about most of it, but certainly a lot of it. And it's possible the Breen evolved and well like that. It was one of my theories. It's one of the reasons I thought, well, maybe Kira doesn't know what one looked like, because the moment it died and its suit went off, its body raised in temperature, became unstable, and literally, poof, evaporated. So as soon as they took the helmet off, it was like they had an empty suit. But now we know they're just a generic humanoid green skin who apparently have two different faces, a sort of more solid face and a sort of translucent look, which admittedly is a little cooler than the generic green alien look. I'm sorry, I was just really disappointed. That's the Breen. That's what we've been hiding all this time. I recently recorded just today actually an episode about Babylon 5, and there's a race in Babylon 5 called the Gayam, and they wear an armor and suit that's not dissimilar to that of a Breen. In fact, you could almost say they're the same, and considering the Breen first properly appeared in Deep Space Nine, and Deep Space Nine's kind of a Babylon 5 clone allegedly, or vice versa allegedly, depending on which faction you're in. They have kind of a predator-like face underneath, and we're all kind of weird looking. And there were reasons they wore their suit. It was the same with the Breen. There was going to be a reason. Also, I just want to point out there's a race in Star Wars also wear a suit that's incredibly similar to the Breen. It's just a faction. It's just a sci-fi trope at this point. Yeah, personally, little disappointed. Don't know about you. I don't mind him being Breen. And I don't mind learning a bit more about the Breen, but sometimes it's best not to know. It's one of the reasons the Swarm in the Delta Quadrant interests me so much. I don't want to know everything about them. Also, on that, going off topic, sorry I'm having an ADHD attack, the Krenim. We've been reintroduced to ideas of the Temporal Cold War. They mentioned the Krenim. Krenim use a lot of temporal weaponry. You saw them use chronoton weapons, of course, the temporal weapon ship built by Anorax, but now they're a faction within the Temporal Cold Wars. They build various other types of temporal bombs and other things. Little temporal spiders. They basically, because it's time technology, it has to come from the Krenim. Sorry, tangent over. I'll cover that in another one. With all that said, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Bye bye.